Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm just going to kind of show off some of my living room collection, some of the stuff I have out. Some of it I know you see in the backgrounds of the videos a lot, but I figured I'd just kind of show you guys how I have everything set up right now in summer of 2023, starting off here with my Super 7 Thundercat figures. Now, I love Thundercats. It was probably my favorite cartoon when I was little. I am from the early 80s. So I was just the right age to catch on to Thundercats. I do have a lot of the vintage toys put up as well. But I love these Super 7 Thundercat figures. I got Snake Man right there. I've got Bengali back there with Living Jaga, Pumira, and Linkso, which is really nice to have the Season 2 Thundercats because I never did get the vintage toys of them because they're very pricey, the vintage ones. So I never got the vintage ones of those. So it's nice to be able to own those three in the back. I do, of course, have Panthro and Lion-O. Love that little pose there with Lion-O. Shitara and Tigra. And I love this pose I have him in with his bolo whip. That is really, really a cool pose. I gotta get Shitara in a better pose. And then up here, I have Hammerhand, the V2 version of Hammerhand. Because in his first episode, he looked different than this. This is how he looked in the rest of the episodes he was in, really. And he looks really cool. I like him. I have Red Lion-O, which is one of my most wanted figures I ever wanted, because this is one of my two favorite episodes of Thundercats, when Mum-Ra basically takes the form of Lion-O as this Red Lion-O, and they have to battle. And I really, really love that one. I always wanted to have a Red Lion-O, so when this was announced, even though I know it's just a reuse of the mold, I was super excited. I love having him on the shelf. And then, of course, I have Mum-Ra in his regular form here. This is the original Mattel version of it. And, of course, Groon the Destroyer, who used to be a Thundercat before he turned to his ways of evil. And then down here we have some of the villains. Let me ease down here. I don't think I can squat down without making some kind of verbal noise now. We have Jackalman right there. You see Vulture-Man there in the back. Vulture-Man doesn't stand well, so I have him kind of propped up against that wall. And then there's Mamut, Mum-Ra the Ever-Living, in his powered Ever-Living form. This, of course, is the animated version. They do have an LJN toy version I haven't gotten yet. I really do want that. Matter of fact, I've got a birthday coming up at the beginning of July. If anyone wants to get me anything non-Doctor Who related, I really want the LJN Toy Colors version of this figure. And I also want the LJN Toy Colors Monkeyin too. Just saying. And I also need a... that's fine. That's fine. I do got to get that April O'Neil figure from the Super 7 Turtles line eventually. Just saying. But I do love that pose I have him in. I absolutely love that pose I have for Mum-Ra. I think that's perfect. That's one of my favorite Super 7 figures. And then I have Slide in the back. That Slide figure is really good too. He came out really detailed. I don't know how much that comes through just on camera. He looks really good. I'd love to have him a little more at the forefront, but he also tends to fall forwards, and I don't want him to fall down. But he looks really good. I seem to have him balanced perfectly. And then, of course, the cartoon version of Monkeyin right here, who came out really well. Love the fact he came with a shield and everything. Moving down here, we have some of my turtle figures with the Casey Jones right there, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, who's my favorite turtle. I'm a big Raphael fan, and Donatello right there. I do need to get that Super 7 April figure so I can put her back there, the original release. And then I've got Rocksteady right here. He's a beefy. Rocksteady and Bebop are really big figures. I don't think the camera really does them justice, but they're big figures. I got Rocksteady there. I got a Foot Soldier there. Got Slash in the back. I do love that Slash figure. I've always loved the vintage Slash figure, and these really are just kind of upscales of the Playmates figures. And he looks fantastic. And then I've got Shredder right here, looking sharp. I never really cared much for the vintage Shredder figure, but this updated version of it looks really good. Baxter Stockman, which is probably my favorite Super 7, Turtle Super 7 figure. Because I never had the vintage Baxter Stockman, and I always wanted it. So I do love owning that. I have him in the back too, because he also doesn't like to stand that well. There he is with a Mouser. And there's a Bebop, nice, beefy, big boy, Bebop, with the cartoon accurate head on. I like that better than his toy head that he came with. Looking good there. And then I'm gonna stand back up. Oh, got some classic He-Man figures. I know Lance will appreciate that. With Mechaneck, Thunder Punch He-Man, Frosta from She-Ra. Not a big fan of She-Ra, but I did like some of the character designs, and I absolutely love Frosta's design. That's a cool design. I've got kind of a makeshift 2002 He-Man in the back that I kind of customized up. Of course, the more traditional He-Man here, the one that we all know and love. Man-at-Arms in the back, Teela right here, an older King He-Man in the back with battle armor He-Man right here with a little battle damage going on, and Battleground Teela right behind him. And then, of course, you guys know about right here where I've got some of the collection sets. Ease on over here. Looking good. And then I've got a couple mass vehicles up here. I have several mass vehicles. I have most of the mass vehicles actually from season 1. But I've only got 2 of them out right now. These are my 2 favorites, Thunderhawk and Condor. I had both of these when I was little. I even still have the Condor I had when I was little. It's put up and in rough shape, but I still have it. This, of course, is my newer display pieces. And then we have, of course, where I have the classic steelbooks that I own right now. Lined up with, of course, the rest of the collection range that I have, which is all of the ones released so far. I do love these sets so very much. And then coming back over here, as I squat down again. I remember when I used to be able to do that without making a verbal noise. And then you can see where I have bleeding over from another row. We'll get to some of my UK release of the DVDs that you guys have been sending, which I really appreciate. And then some of my collection sets, like my Key to Time set right here, and my New Beginnings set right here, my E-Space trilogy, the Dalek War set right here, of course the Guardian trilogy. And then I've got my copy of some of my Big Finish stuff like The Last Adventure. I love The Last Adventure. This is really, it really does the Sixth Doctor justice. He really goes out on some good stories. I really like that. And some of my others, I still got to finish the Unit Domination. I watched the first 2, but not the last 2. I've also got Dark Universe, which I need to watch. Flyattractor sent me all of Blake 7. I need to be starting on that soon. I'm curious if you guys would rather see reviews or reactions, or well, with the reviews at the end of the reactions. I could react to these episodes like I did with most of Quatermass and then do a review at the end of the reaction, or if you just prefer for me to watch the episode myself and then just do the review later. I'd really be curious to hear what you would prefer, because I haven't decided if I just want to review episodes like I do with Doctor Who, or if I want to do reactions to episodes. Since I will be watching these basically for the first time, I only have vague memories of Blake 7 from PBS when I was growing up as a kid in the 80s. I've talked about that before. I did a whole video about that before. Of course, I have Columbo. You guys know I love Columbo. If you're a fan of the Second Doctor, if you love Patrick Troughton's Doctor, you will love Columbo. They're a lot alike. The Second Doctor and Columbo are so much alike. You would probably love this show, especially the first run in the 70s. Because Columbo kind of ran like 7 seasons in the 70s, and it took like a 10-year break, and then it came back and ran through the 90s and early 2000s. The first run's better, but they're still both good. And then there's some other stuff back there. Some of my anime, I can see Thundercats back there. My Dune soundtrack, because I love Toto's soundtrack. Toto actually did the music to the 1984 Dune. I own it physically and digitally. I love that soundtrack. Some of my anime stuff back there, and some other cartoon stuff. Let's see. Now, normally I have Airwolf right here. I've let one of my friends borrow it because I do love Airwolf. I have all 3 seasons of it on Blu-ray. Great show. I have Black Adder here, which Black Adder might actually be my favorite British show, even more than Doctor Who. I love Black Adder. Black Adder, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th was basically me when I was in my 20s and early to mid-30s. I was a very witty, snarky person. Most people didn't want to get into verbal sparring with me. I was really good at it. I've gotten far more lenient in my old age, so to speak. And then, of course, I have a lot of different Blu-rays, some Batman stuff, Black Lagoon, Commando. I love Commando. The Exorcist, Dirty Harry. I got like 3 different versions of Highlander. I love the first 3 Highlander movies. And I like Endgame too, although Endgame's the soundtrack is better than anything. But especially the first 3 Highlander movies, I really enjoy. The first one is the best one, even if the second one's probably my favorite. I have Inuyasha, the final act. I actually have all 7 seasons of Inuyasha right here. I love Inuyasha. And then I have the final act that wrapped up the series here, The Princess Bride. Of course, Quatermass in the Pit down here with the other Blu-rays. Some Stallone stuff, some Terminator stuff, and some of my steelbooks like the Highlander steelbook, Mass Effect, the 2009 Star Trek, the animated Transformer movie. The very first soundtrack I ever bought was actually this one for Dune, right here. That was the first soundtrack. That was the first steelbook I ever bought, excuse me. That's the first steelbook I ever bought. I love my Dune steelbook. I love that movie. With some other comedies I like this is one of my favorite movies right here. I love Clue. Clue's so good. And then I've got Harvey with Jimmy Stewart and, of course, Groundhog Day. Some good stuff in here. And then you can see here I have the original Transformers and then the animated movie, and then all 3 seasons of Beast Wars are here, and then some Looney Tunes stuff and some other cartoons. Night Gallery is in here. I love Night Gallery, especially the pilot that started it. Especially the one in the pilot that has Roddy McDowall in it. Oh, man, that's probably the reason why I'm such a big fan of Roddy McDowall. Although he's in a really good Columbo, too, is his performance in that pilot for Night Gallery, which is done by Rod Serling. It's the show he did after he did Twilight Zone. And then moving over here, we have more steelbooks. These are, of course, my modern series steelbooks, and it is so upsetting not to have a Series 9 one on the shelf. I really want a Series 9 steelbook. I wish they'd either reissue it or do another one. It kills me not having it. And I even did get the Flux one. I didn't really care much for Flux, but I did like the artwork. Alice is a fantastic artist, and I wanted to support her work. Some of the U.S. releases of the collection range, I did pick up some of the early ones. Some of the other Doctor Who stuff on Blu-ray, like Shada and Evil of the Daleks and the TV movie. David Tennant collection right here. The 2 Peter Cushing movies. I believe Flyattractor sent me both of these, as I recall, which I much appreciate. Those were both great watches. And then, of course, we move into my DVD collections, which I've been picking up for years, but you guys have been really generous at helping me complete and fill out, which I appreciate. We have Hartnell and some Troughton stuff down there. And then we have some more Troughton here before we move into Pertwee. And then we move into Tom. Lots of Tom. And we have some Peter One Colin. That's all I have is on DVD is that One Colin, the Twin Dilemma, because it was his first story. What a one to have on DVD, right? Luckily, I've got all of his other episodes on the box set range. And then, of course, some Sylvester. I've got the TV movie right here with McGann. And then these are my UK releases that you guys have been sending, which I very much appreciate. And I do like that UK spine a lot more than the US spine, I have to say. This just looks better on a shelf to me. And then, here's my new computer setup. I've talked before about how one of my patrons, who's also one of my subscribers, and one of my friends actually, gave me this desktop setup recently. I had a laptop, and he wanted me to be able to do live streams. And so he gave me this wonderful monitor. It's like a 4K monitor. He actually gave me 2 monitors. I just don't have room to set the other one. It's beautiful 4K monitor. He gave me this beautiful 4K webcam with a mic built in. I bought the speakers myself. Got this wonderful keyboard that makes this nice clickety sound that I like. And then this beautiful custom-made tower right here. It is fantastic. And I really appreciate Finn sending it. It was, y'all have heard me thank him at the end of the channel. He's one of my top tier subscribers, Finn Perkins. Really nice guy, and I really appreciate him giving that to me. And then over here, some of the ones you see in the face-off videos. Here's my LJN Lion-O. I've talked before, I love the Super 7 LJN figures. I really want to get that Mumra and that Monkian. So here's the Lion-O, and he looks so much like the vintage figure. One of my other friends who's a big collector really wants to get this sometime soon too. And then I have the Masterverse version of the New Adventures He-Man, and then the Classics version of the New Adventures He-Man. And of course the Masterverse I keep him with his extra armor, and the Classics I keep him without it, and they look really good. There's Adora. So I've always found Adora more interesting than She-Ra. So I prefer in her Adora form. I just like that character design better. And then of course I have the 40th anniversary Masterverse He-Man here. I have Prince Adam here, the Classics Prince Adam right here, which I love. They went with that darker, more maroon vest. It's such a good figure. The New Adventures Mara and the New Adventures Skeletor. And that Skeletor has such a cool face sculpt. I love the face sculpt on that figure. I've always loved the New Adventures Skeletor design. And then down here, hey, my chair's right here. I can sit in that. Lovely. There we go. And down here, I've got my Skeletor. This could be my favorite Super 7 figure that not Super 7, Classics figure, my favorite Classics figure. Possibly even my favorite He-Man figure that I own is my Classic Skeletor. I just think that is such a cool, imposing looking figure. And then I've got my Classics Faker. Faker is actually my favorite character in He-Man. I've always preferred Faker over He-Man. When I was little, it was a long time before I ever got a He-Man figure when I was little, with my first being Thunder Punch He-Man. But I got a Faker figure when I was really little, so for me that was my He-Man figure. And I love that color scheme with the orange and the blue, especially since I'm also a Florida Gators fan, so that really appeals to me. But I just think his character design looks really, really good. I love that setup. I've got Trapjaw right there, Triclops back there, Spikor back there, Mosquitor back there, Evil Lyn in her toy colors right here, which was the original release of her in her original vintage colors, which is my preferred look for her. Looks really good right there. That yellow and blue just really pop. Then I've got some of my amiibos out. I've been playing Breath of the Wild for the first time, and you can scan amiibos into the game. So I've been scanning the amiibos I could find. I actually have more. I'm just not sure where they are. So I dug out the ones I could find, and I've been scanning them into the game as I've been playing. Got my Wii down here, or my Wii U down here. Got Hordak there in the back. Catra right there. Finally found my Catra. I had to dig for her. I've got Keldor back there, which of course is Skeletor before he becomes Skeletor, and I do have him with his 2002 series looking swords in the back, if you can see them. And then Battle Armor Skeletor right here with some battle damage going on. We've got King Hiss in his snake form right here. I've always loved the vintage King Hiss. The 2002 design was all right, but I love the vintage look figure much more. I've always loved my vintage King Hiss figure, so I love this Classics one as well. Got Stinkor right here with Evil Lyn in her cartoon accurate colors. Definitely more so, I'd say, from the 2002 series, the 2000X series, which also looks cool. It does look really good on her. And I did get this one technically before the vintage one. I've got Webster back there. He doesn't stand well, so I kind of have him propped up back there. I'm really looking forward to that Masterverse version of Webster coming, because that one looks really cool. This is the Classics version back here. And then I'd also have Dragon Blast Skeletor right here, although he is holding the Faceless One's staff, because it feels like it complements him well with the glowing pink and purple kind of going with the colors of his outfit there. I do like that a lot. And then right here, last but not least, I have the Mondo Deluxe He-Man. I have him in his Thunder Punch armor. I have the deluxe version, so he comes with the regular armor, the battle armor, and the Thunder Punch armor. I think he looks best in his Thunder Punch armor. And again, Thunder Punch was the first He-Man figure I ever had, the vintage Thunder Punch, the first He-Man. So I wanted to put it in that kind of as a nod to that. And he looks really, really sharp. And then you can see some of the games I have here. These are definitely not all of my games, just some of the ones I have out on display. Kind of some of the ones I like the best, including Eternal Darkness. I love Eternal Darkness. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little tour of my setup. And let y'all see kind of how everything looks, especially some of the shelves that usually aren't in camera shot. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. That does help me out. I certainly appreciate it. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me, like a Mum-Ra or a monkey. That's down there as well, as is a link to my Amazon wish list with stuff on that. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support as I do the support of all of my patrons. It really does mean a lot, and I hope all of y'all have a great day. And most importantly, thank you for watching.